What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Crypto Airborne in the house, dropping you guys the latest and greatest cryptocurrency news and updates. What do we got? Today is November 12th, 2021. We're live streaming on a Friday night. Thankful you guys here. I can't even talk. Thank you guys for coming on to my live stream tonight. It's a Friday night. You could be doing anything else, but you decided to come watch me talk about crypto. So thank you guys for all your support, all subscribers. Should be a pretty good live stream tonight. It's going to be a little bit different. VGX Heroes Hangout. We're going to try to get a little more education side of things. Today, we're going to be talking about technical analysis, the basics of charting, things of that nature, stuff that I'm not really too great at, but just something I've been studying the last couple of years. And I think it's important to know a little bit, at least the basics as an investor, just because you want to know. It's kind of like another thing to put in your tool bag or whatever. Because I'm more of a fundamentalist when it comes to investing. I'm not a trader, like a day trader. I trade every now and then, but I'm more investor. So I watch a lot of technical analysis videos throughout the last couple of years, and I think this is gonna be something good for you guys to put in your toolkit. And I have Six Fig on here. He's pretty darn good. He's pretty accurate with a lot of his TA. If you guys don't follow him, but if anything gets crazy where like you guys don't understand, I'll either interject or you guys write in the comments. I'll try to take some comments throughout the night. And real quick, guys, my giveaway, you have until the end of the stream. So go to my pinned tweet. You got to go to the video that I uploaded on Sunday talking about it. Just follow all these steps, and I'm going to be picking the winner at the end of this. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, DJ Crypto is doing a meetup for one of the Dallas Mavericks game coming up. I'll give a little bit of details at the very end of the stream. So stick around for that. But we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to do my typical market overview, and then we'll get started. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Smash the like on your way in. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed, and enjoy. All right, so market overview. Let me just refresh this. We are down about 0.84% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin's down about 1.8%. Let me just click on this real quick. Make sure you guys can hear me, right? I'm just double checking. Ethereum is down 2.87%, sitting at about $4,600. We got Solana down 4.5%, sitting at $227. Cardano's down about 1.56%, sitting at $2.05. Top gainers last 24 hours. Decentraland, man. What happened with that? Up 28.45%, sitting at $3.56. Wow. We got storage up 13%, and about $1.77. ARPA chain up 10%. Never heard of that. Perps up 10%. Got some alts doing pretty well. Let's see. Top losers last 24 hours. We got Jasmy down about 12.89%. Loopring's down 12%. UMA is down about 11.34%. And Litecoin's down about 10.93%. All right. So let's jump over to national days. Today was National Happy Hour Day, if you guys didn't know that. So hopefully you had an happy hour if you did after work today or whenever. Chicken Soup for the Soul Day. National Donor Sabbath. French Dip Day. Pizza with the works except anchovies day. That's kind of weird. And World Pneumonia Day. So that is for your national holidays for November 12th, 2021. Let's take a look at crypto bubbles. Visual people out there. Like I just said, Mana's up 27%. Bitcoin Cash, ABC, up 13.7%. Is that the regular Bitcoin Cash? I don't know what BCHA is. Might be something different. Alt, Elitus, haven't heard of that one. Up $29.15, up 20%. Let's look at my favorites. Ones that usually I talk about. Mana is crushing it. Everything looks like it's down a little bit, though. Engine Coin's up, though. Helium's up. So those are my favorite. We got StormX down there in the corner, only down about 0.4%. Total crypto market cap. Again, this is TradingView. There's a discrepancy I've noticed. We're at $2.78 trillion for total crypto market cap. And then for CoinGecko, it's saying we're a little below 3 trillion. Let me just refresh this. So I don't know what's accurate, but again, I like looking at this as overall health of the entire crypto market. So we shot up a little bit, we're going down. It's good, to go down a little bit just to continue upward. Crypto Fear and Greed Index for Bitcoin. Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Kind of had an idea that we're going to be down a little bit from yesterday. We were at a 74 greed. Today we were at about 72. So I like looking at this just as an idea of when to get into the market type of thing, just to see how we're doing. Because usually if it shows an extreme greed, we're probably going to be red the next day or so. So Bitcoin dominance, I check this all the time too. Little slight downtrend. We're still down, sitting at about a 43.25. All right, so jumping into just a little bit background history about technical analysis for you guys. Let me just make sure you guys all can hear me before I begin. Floki's in the house. What's up, man? We got Sun Tzu's in. Me, what's going on? How you guys doing tonight? Man, we got 22 people. Appreciate it. Six Fig wants to know how the rash is worth extra points for sure. Zeus, what's going on? Marcos just made him a moderator, so don't be nasty in the comments or we'll kick you out. Hat giveaways rigged. Nice. Best community in crypto. Cool. All right, guys. So just like I said, I'm going to start out with a brief education background or technical analysis history and whatnot. So this is just from Wikipedia, so, take it with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure a lot of this is accurate. Could not, if it's not, let me know. But, technical analysis, starting basics. It's a methodology for forecasting the direction of prices through the study of past market data, primarily price and volume. The efficacy of both technical and fundamental analysis is disputed by the efficient market hypothesis, which states the stock market prices are essentially unpredictable, and research on whether technical analysis offers any benefit has produced mixed results, which, I can agree. Technical analysis isn't 100% correct. It's been studied for hundreds of years. Like I said, it's a tool that I put in my bag when I'm an investor. So I look at the fundamentals of a project of whatever I'm investing in, and I'll also look at the charts. I'll do my research, do your own research, and try to look up the technicals to see if that coin's a good coin to get into or a bad time, so on and so forth. Just some quick history. Like I said, it's been around for the last couple hundred years. Dates back to the Dutch financial markets in the 17th century, Asia TA from Hama Manhija during the early 18th century. We've had other pioneers of analysis included Ralph Elliott, Elliott wave theory, William Gann, and Richard Wyckoff, the Wyckoff method. We'll probably get into that, who developed their respective techniques in the early 20th century. General description, fundamental analysts examine earnings, dividends, assets, quality ratio, new products, research, and the like. Technicians employ many methods and tools, techniques as well, one of which is the use of charts. Using charts, technical analysts seek to identify price patterns and market trends in financial markets and attempt to exploit those patterns. So again, talking about that, there are lots of different styles. There's so many different types of people that consider themselves experts. Always take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, when you're doing your own research, try and look up different types of people that do technical analysis on charts so you get a different idea, different perspective. That's why I'm hoping I got a couple people that hopefully will be coming on just to get a different perspective from Six Fig stock traders method. And he's going to talk a little bit what he uses and whatnot. So just the FYI for you guys. And now breaking it down into charting terms and indicators. So there's charting terms and then there are indicators, I believe. Some of the concepts we have, and probably if you're a noob or you know a little bit about TA like me, you've heard these terms before. You got breakouts, cycles, dead cat bounce. We've heard that a while this past year. You got the Elliott wave principle, the golden ratio, Fibonacci ratios. I know Six Fig likes that. Resistance levels, supports, what's trending. And then you got your types of charts. You guys are familiar with the candlestick charts. And then the other one is line charts. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. But we do have, there's some other things, open, high, low, close chart, and point and figure chart. So like I said, guys, it gets pretty in-depth with some of this stuff, and you can spend hours talking about this. But again, I want to break down this video just to the intro, the basics for new people, and then we'll get into a little bit of intermediate and advanced charting and methods just as an FYI for you guys. Overlays. There's different things that you can put over those charts that people like to measure price targets and whatnot. You got Ichimoku clouds. I know Six Fig stock trader likes that a lot. You got moving averages, resistance, supports, trend lines, a whole bunch of different things. And then there's also price-based indicators. and some of the things that you probably heard that I've heard of, but I really don't know what they mean. I do, but I don't type of thing. But hopefully that's what we're here for, to help you guys clear that up and make it on a simple level to understand. We got the MACD, which is the moving average of convergence and divergence. The relative strength index is a technical indicator used in the analysis of financial markets. It's intended to chart the current and historic strength and weakness of a stock or crypto on the closing prices. And then we got the stochastic oscillator. I know Six Fig talks about that a lot, which is the close position within recent trading range. So again, guys, this is a quick overview of the history, some of the charting terms and indicators that we're going to be going through over the next hour. Let's see, check the comments. How you guys doing? Peter Griffin, what's up? Michael James, Nervos. We got our Nervos people in here. Michael, when laser light show? We got Crypto Daddy Pig coming here at some point. I'm curious for the laser light show. That'll be cool. Ashtray, what's going on? BGX Heroes, how you doing tonight? Farron, what's up? Captain Planet. Carrie, what's going on? How you doing tonight? All right, and then last, before we bring in Six Fig, there is a website, if you guys haven't heard about this, it's called thepatternSite.com. It has a lot of good information about charts, fundamentals, the psychology of trading, Volkowski on trading, a lot of different books if you guys are interested in learning about charting and technical analysis. Highly recommend checking out this website. Let me just put this in here real quick, and you guys can bookmark it, check it out on your own leisure. So there's that. And yeah, let's bring in our first guest who's here. Still waiting on a couple others, but Six Fig Stock Trader, what's going on, my man?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here. Not a whole lot, man. How about yourself? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, hear you perfectly fine.
Glad to be on your show 2 nights in a row, bro.
I know, man. We went
2 nights
an hour yesterday.
Yeah, we kept it short and simple. It was a good show. Covered a lot of ground. Glad to be here to talk about some of the patterns and indicators and different trading and charting methods that traders use to advance in the market. It's really a good thing to talk about. And I do think that if you can walk away from this video with maybe a few new interests in some indicators or some patterns or some styles of trading, you'll be better for it in the long run. And it's I think the main thing is if you're newer to trading or you're just unfamiliar with how to work a chart, it's very important that you don't try to overwhelm yourself with everything all at once. Learn a few different indicators, learn a few different patterns. Just keep adding to that tool bag, and there's nothing wrong with taking your time. Yeah, so yeah, sure. I'm really looking forward to getting into the juicy juice of what you have planned. I did see your outline of what you got coming. I'm excited to talk about it, and I do know that there's a lot of great traders. You mentioned Crypto Daddy Pig, Crypto Earth
popped in.
Did he? Okay. Yep. So
we'll introduce him after you.
Great. Great people to kind of turn an eye to.
Yeah. So how about you I know a lot of people know you on your channel and whatnot, but I don't think you really talk too much about like how you got started into technical analysis. Where'd you learn from, and kind of like where do you get your information? I'm sure you're probably set, but if you try to expand your knowledge, what like books or what do you recommend if you want to start?
Man, that's a good question. So I'll just kind of start with my background, and then I'll kind of get into that. So for the people that don't really follow my channel, I've been exposed to trading pretty much all my life. I can remember as a very young kid being around a lot of day traders, family members that traded. And I can always remember one of probably there's been the 2 biggest influences in my trading life have been my uncle and grandpa. And I'll say this, when my uncle would come to town, he would bring with, like, we're talking, this is 20, 30 years ago. He would bring satellite dishes and set them up all over the yard so he
Wow.
could make his trades. And he wasn't, and so a lot of this stuff wasn't, you weren't trading on an app on your phone or on the internet. You were calling up your contact at a brokerage and placing your bets and letting it ride. And so a lot of this stuff, I caught on to just being around, asking questions. And I can remember, part of the name Six Fig Stock Trader doesn't come from any personal wealth that I have or anything like that. It was from my grandpa. And I asked him one time, I said, how much money are you making? And I was a young kid. And he said, when I make a trade, it's just think of it as I'm moving a 6-figure house each way. And I'll never forget that. And so I always kind of thought of him as the 6-fig stock trader. So that's where the name comes from on this channel, just kind of in honor of him. But when you start talking about what I would turn to for books and stuff like that, I would definitely say one of the biggest things I would recommend to anybody trying to get into trading and whatnot is to really study the work of Fibonacci, the golden ratio, understand exactly what all that is. There's lots of different Google websites that can explain this a lot better than I can on a Friday night after a couple of whiskeys on the internet. So, I'd definitely say that I'd never really had one book, but there are so many great reputable YouTube channels that teach, anything you want. And I would recommend that you don't pay for any classes from anybody. You go on YouTube, look at the comment section, look at the thumbs up section, thumbs down. If you're looking for some method that you're interested in studying, see how many likes to dislikes it has, because people will absolutely butcher those people that are giving out bad information, and you'll kind of be able to distinguish, what's right from wrong over time. But yeah, I do think that YouTube is probably the greatest asset for this time frame in trying to learn patterns, charts, indicators, different methods of trading. I know that my method of trading is unique to the next person in line and to the next person in line. We all have different things that work. So what necessarily works for me will not work for you, or it might work for you. You might excel at it better than me. So it's kind of just what you cling on to in your studies that will propel you.
So what would you say your overall style is? Like, I know just from watching you a lot, you use pretty much the same 4 or 5 indicators and whatnot to do your TA, but it seems to be working, right?
Yeah. So basically the bread and butter of what I do is I'll break it down, and, I don't hide anything. You can see all my indicators and what I use on my videos. I like the Heiken Ashi candles. I like the Ichimoku cloud. I like the 50 moving average, 200 moving average. I like to see the RSI and, Ichimoku cloud. That's my comfort zone. And I use that in conjunction with identifying patterns such as ascending triangles, descending triangles. I like to study trend lines a lot. And I do like to, also kind of blend, different Fibonacci, I guess different Fibonacci indicators like extensions, retracements, channels, time sequence into that TA as well.
Nice. So let's bring in VGX Hero, Crypto Daddy Pig. First time on the channel. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man.
There he is.
Good.
What's
Good.
happening? Thanks for having me.
So in the VGX Heroes Discord, we have a charting channel, and if you guys aren't in VGX Heroes Discord, highly recommend it. It's not just a group of people who are VGX maxis and whatnot. It's a whole community, all about education. governance, and what's the third one? Governance, education, and what do we always say? I can't even think off the top of my head.
Profits.
Someone knows in the comments.
Brennan.
Frennan. But yeah, guys, definitely check that out. And most recently, well, not recently, but for a while now, I've noticed that you put these crazy charts on there. So I was like, oh, I got to have Crypto Daddy Pig on there just to explain. I know Michael talks about it with trading the Voyager stock the other day, all the light shows and all that stuff. I've never heard of that or what it is. So I'll be curious later if you can talk that. But before we begin, yeah, how did you get into charting and whatnot? Like, have you been doing it your whole life, just recently, just self-taught learning, watching YouTube videos? And
yeah, for me, I didn't really even start getting into investing until the beginning of last year. Was just kind of looking for something to look into. There's Mr. Aragorn stepping in, giving us the 3 pillars. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yep.
So I was looking for something to just basically to find secondary income and, looking for a way to benefit my family moving forward. Got a 4-year-old, so I'm trying to look out for her for the future. So I started, basically, it was funny. I was just doing some sports gambling, joined a Discord, and all of a sudden one day somebody started a crypto section for that and told me about Bitcoin and said that we were basically breaking out of the bear market of a really long downtrend. So I made my first Bitcoin buy around, I think it was 6,700, and was just DCAing weekly. Got to the point where I started to do a little bit of moderating for that Discord. So they put me into the crypto section and I kind of ran with it from there. I am self-taught for the most part. There are a couple of guys that I kind of let me in under their wing. They're a little bit crazier than your average TA guys. They follow some weird, almost it's like geometry patterns in order to build their charts and kind of predict where they think price is going to go. So found a couple of really good YouTube resources and just started trying to practice drawing charts the same way that they drew them. A lot of them have moved on to charts that are so math involved that I mean, to be honest, they're way over my head. So I kind of broke off and started to do the things that work best for me. So yeah, we do refer to it lovingly as the laser light show, but basically I use a charting tool called a Gann box from W.D. Gann, who was a trader in the 1920s and 1930s, made millions and millions of dollars, which for that period of time was insane. Not everything that he did was based off of just charts alone. He was in, commodities, and he would take a plane and fly over fields to see and confirm that his assumptions on future price of, things were correct, which, obviously I don't have the capabilities of doing. But yeah, so Gann box has always been something that I've been able to look at a chart and kind of set up a pattern for myself. Yeah. And then use it as a roadmap. I don't use it in I see setups, I see possibilities, but I don't use it 100%. Recommend that anybody who's starting off and trying to learn how to trade, spend some time with indicators. There's hundreds of them on TradingView, and you can start to just scroll through them, pop them in, pull them off, and use the ones that make sense to you, and start formulating your own plans from there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's because once I saw the chart that you did, I was just like, that's absolutely crazy. I don't understand it. But I'm sure hopefully when we get there, you can kind of explain it in simple terms, because in the military, we always use the term called KISS, keep it stupid simple.
Stupid.
And I know you can't always do that with technical analysis, aka technical. You got to at least know a little bit, maybe a little bit about math or whatever. But I'm just hopefully that we can start talking about that and make it simple to the normal everyday person that's into TA. So let's get
we can certainly throw one up tonight.
Cool. So let's get started. So I kind of like did a little outline. I didn't want to just shoot from the hip tonight. So I have it broken down by like a beginner level, intermediate level, and advanced. And I was talking with SixFig before this, and this is all going to go back to like the trader and the technical analysis, whoever's doing it, because you're going to think maybe an intermediate level for you is, I don't know, it could be a beginner level or be something that you think is advanced, might be intermediate. It's just going to depend on the person. So take all this, guys, with a grain of salt. Again, none of this that we're saying is financial advice. We're just a bunch of dudes that like crypto talking about charts and laser light shows. So take that into consideration. But what I have down for the beginner level are indicators. So like moving averages, your 50 and your 200-day moving average, volume, RSI. And then for patterns, we can get into maybe ascending, descending triangles, symmetrical triangles, flag poles, which are either bearish or bullish, cup and handle, pitchforks, channel trading, rising, falling wedge, and trend lines. So it sounds like a lot, and I sent SixFig the notes. I don't know if you just want to start from that very beginning, pull up a chart, maybe the VGX chart or whatever, coins we always talk about, and just start from the beginning with like moving averages, just what those are.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy to do that. Let's see here. I've got CKB kind of pulled up right now. Let's just say you're new to CKB, and for example, you'd want to know where this asset is going in the long term. So the first thing I do when I'm looking at a new cryptocurrency, I like to see what it's doing on a weekly. If there's even monthly data, I'd like to even look at that. Sometimes that's more, you can find that more in like, the stock market will have more of that data. But for example, for cryptocurrency, a weekly chart, this is telling me a lot where this thing is going. I've got Ichimoku Cloud pulled up. But the other thing here is, on this weekly chart for crypto, we're not really seeing this 200 moving average. So let's just bring this down to like a daily. So like if we're talking just daily averages or moving averages, we can see that, the purple in this instance is the 50 moving average, and the yellow or gold color line is the 200. And so just really understanding the swings of price action around this 200 moving average goes a long ways. We can see, how far price usually swings out, on average, just by looking at this. And in addition to that, other things that I'm looking for, golden cross opportunities. I'm looking for death cross opportunities to really kind of play the market. So when it comes to like moving averages, these lines represent the previous 50-day average price. So this basically charts a line of the previous 50 days. And so this can be used to our advantage to look for these golden cross opportunities and things like that. Death cross. That's really, when it comes down to moving averages, these are something that I pay attention to. I like to know, whether or not we're above or below the 200 moving average. So, if I had to just break it down, that would be my answer to that moving average question.
So exactly so I was infantry, and in the Army, people always made fun of us because we were so we couldn't think anything like outside the box or whatever. We're just, run, gun, and shoot. But anyway, so when you talk about a 50-day or 100-day moving average, what exactly is that moving average? Like, what is it? Is it like the closure of a 10-hour chart, a 4-hour chart, and that's the line measured on the graph of that coin? Or like, how can you explain that in just like simple?
Yeah. So it's going to vary. So this is going to look way different if we go down to like a 4-hour chart. We're going to see a lot more death crosses, a lot more golden crosses occur. But basically what it is this line, let's just say at this point here, this point represents the average price of this asset going back the last 50 days. And this little 200 moving average right here represents the average price going back the last 200 days.
Gotcha.
So we can kind of see that, 200 days, that's roughly 6 months. So November to what? June or May? Yeah. So you could kind of see that if you skewered, maybe back to like June, you can kind of see how this average might look, something like this. But yeah, that's basically all it is just it is the average price of the asset, for the X number of days.
Gotcha. So, that makes sense. You have anything to add about that, Crypto Daddy Pig?
Yeah, so just basically, same thing. If you go down to a lower time frame, it's not days; it would just be the number of candles, right? So if you go to an hour, or even something as small as a 5 minute, you're going to see way more crosses and exchanges because you've got it's more consolidated. But yeah, it's it's based on the number of candles. So on the daily, it's 50 versus 200 daily candles, but it's each one of those accounts for a candle. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, so that definitely cleared up for me. But let's jump over to volume and RSI for Voyager token. That was being talked about on Twitter today. I know the price is up a little bit right now. They said there was increasing volume, but trying to relate things to what we invest in as we're trying to learn how to do technical analysis, I think it'd be a good time to bring up volume and RSI 6FIG if you want to talk about that for VGX token, or what they are and what RSI is, relative strength index.
Yeah, so the RSI is just basically it's the relative strength index, and this is going to look just like Crypto Daddy was talking. It's going to look a lot different on a weekly chart. Well, we don't even get data on a weekly chart for VGX, so let's go down to a 1 day chart.
Well, so you can see the old chart, right?
This is the new one.
Or the new chart. That's the new one.
This is the new one. I don't know how accurate that old one is, so I've been refraining from it. But right now, RSI on a daily chart is sitting at a cool 54, which is really in the middle ground. I'd say upper middle ground. This is a good point to be at if you're going to run up. But if we talk about, let's just go down to like a 1 hour chart, we can see that the RSI is now 64. And if we go down to a minute chart, or let's go to like 5 minute chart, you can see, well, of course, everything I'm trying to point out here is about the same. But you can see that, bottom line is RSI will differ from the time frame and the chart. So what I like to do when I'm measuring out RSI, if you can get a weekly RSI number, obviously if this thing is up, anything usually over 70 is considered overbought, but it is not uncommon to see RSI run up to 85, 90, 90 plus in some circumstances. I mean, right here, we can see VGX ran up to about 84 in the RSI indicator here. But yeah, it's definitely a good gauge to use when things are, hot, and when they're overbought and when they're oversold, because obviously you do not want to be buying. You see a spike like this, you do not want to be buying in at the top, and the RSI can be used as an indicator to say, okay, maybe this isn't a good time for entry. Obviously, on the 1 minute chart, this is going to be way different than on a weekly chart. So if you're day trading, you're going to want to stick to like these 5-15 minute charts, maybe pay attention to that. But if you're on like a weekly chart, it's going to be a whole different play, maybe a longer term hold. I mean, we can see Voyager token was down to 21 on the RSI not too long ago in early September. I mean, talk about a buying opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
even though price continued to go down, while RSI increased, that just shows us that, buyers are stepping in at these lower prices. Volume is, I don't use volume on my charts. I simply am a pattern kind of guy. I can kind of tell when the volume's about to start coming in either way, just by, finding these symmetrical triangles, ascending and descending triangles. If I see something squeezing, I know the volume's about to increase. So I'm more of an opportunist. When I make trades, I will tend to go kind of with the flow, kind of in and out, more or less. But volume is a good thing for people that are new, because they might not be able to recognize squeezes, things like that. They might not even know what the term squeeze means.
Yeah.
So with that said, when you start to see, and this is a terrible example, I'm going to go up to this 4-hour chart. We can see the selling reaching some significant levels here, and then you can see the buying step in. And so if you're starting to see volume tick up and you're starting to see some green volume, you'll know that there is an upward trend. If you're seeing these killer bearish volume bars, like, you'll know the downtrend is happening. But like I said, for me, I'm not a volume guy. That's just I've never have been.
So when I look at this coming from a simple guy, what I want to know as, not a day trader, but I trade every once in a while and a fundamentalist. When I look at volume and RSI, there seems to be a correlation between volume. So when the volume's up, obviously the RSI is going to be higher. So if I'm looking at a new coin or something I want to invest in, I'm going to look at the volume. And if the RSI is to what level, like if it's real high, I'm probably not going to buy in. That's just me, right? So that's the way, as simple mind is kind of the way I think. Does that kind of make sense? Right?
Yeah, if there's huge volume going on, and we're seeing volume, 10x the normal average volume, and you're seeing RSI way up there, I mean, man, it's not a good time to enter in. Yeah, always when you're looking at volume, it's always a good idea just to look at the average volume and see where it's at, the time you're looking at the asset.
Gotcha. Daddy Pig, you got anything with volume and RSI?
Yeah, I don't really use volume that much either, just because, for the most part, what I look to do is just, I'm hodling 95% of my bag. I'm swing trading maybe 5 to 10% of it. So, and especially if I'm trying to accrue BGX, at some point, we are one. So, can it give us some indicators? Yes, but it's not something I usually have on my charts. One thing, I look at RSI occasionally, just as Six Fig said, you start to pay attention. You can, on the trading view, you can basically adjust the chart. So you could expand out on that RSI to make it bigger. And then you can theoretically, if you want to draw horizontal, vertical lines, you can draw your trend lines on there just as well. So as a new trader, if you're looking at something and you just say, okay, Six Fig says at 70, at 70 we are overbought, then maybe just draw a horizontal line at 70 as a refresher for yourself to say, okay, moving forward, if we're at this line, maybe it's not a good time for me to enter into a position and wait for it to get back down to, where you're seeing the RSI basically bottom out and then start to spike back up. You've got the two really low points, back on towards the 6th and then about the 26th as well. So, you can start to formulate, okay, once it starts to come down to that line, there's a good chance that price is going to bounce back in the other direction, and I can start, looking to make a buy in that area. So it doesn't always work, but it's it's an interesting way to set up your own chart for your own trading strategy, and then just have that as another indicator that, for some of us that use the free trading view platform, you only get three indicators before you have to start paying for other things. So you can start to make your own indicators within indicators to, kind of help you out with your positions.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely good to know for the indicators and whatnot. Let's jump into what do I have next on here? Patterns. So like the most basic patterns, once you study some of the indicators, you want to start looking into ascending and descending triangles. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Voyager token, there's not a lot of data here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and defer to like a Bitcoin chart.
Ooh, we just jumped up too on VGX token. $2.94, up 6%.
Nice. That's what I like to see. These VGX holders have been
pumping, baby. Let's go.
Struggling for a while. So you would mention the ascending and descending triangles. Let's see if we can maybe find an ascending triangle. I mean, just kind of looking, there's some kind of bad examples here. Maybe let's look at.
So you're on TradingView, right? Where would you go to like chart this if I was a noob?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you click on? Like, I'm just going so basic right now.
Yeah.
Like, click on what?
So yeah, basically you could come up and just hit a trend line. So basically what I'm looking for, I'm just trying to think. I'm going to defer back to CKB on this because I think there might be a little ascending triangle that is kind of forming here, or what I suspect was a ascending triangle. So what we're looking for when it comes to ascending triangles, basically we are looking for a resistance point in price action. So we're seeing price come up, bouncing off this point and heading back down. The next thing we're looking for is we are looking for the lows to continue getting higher. And so we can kind of draw up maybe some sort of trend line like this, something of this nature. And you can kind of see how, bear with me one second. I'm just going to scroll out. And this, like I said, this isn't the most prime example of an ascending triangle right here. I'm just kind of trying to illustrate the point more than not. But we can kind of see price comes up, bounces off this resistance line, hits the support, comes back up. And let's just say that this didn't happen. What we'd be looking for is price action to come and bounce off this support level and head back up. Now, a lot of times you will not see price action when it comes to ascending and descending triangles, like break at this point. You will see that happen right around this like 1/3, 1/4 section towards this point, I guess if you want to call it that, this squeeze point. You will see price action really start moving. So this is a not the best example that I could come up with. But you guys can kind of get the point here. This is a classical ascending triangle, very bullish to see. And so if we were looking at some sort of descending triangle, I do know that there is one on ICP. We've been looking at this.
Charted yesterday. Or last night.
And you can kind of see how we have a floor, and basically we're seeing price action react with this trend line and this support level here. And the interesting thing about the descending triangles is that they can act as a continuation pattern, meaning that we might see this just act as one big corrective wave to the downside, or we might see this thing hit this floor and just rip upwards. So descending triangles, in my opinion, are a little bit less unpredictable than the ascending triangle, especially on like an uptrend or something like that.
What's the floor, that big dark line that says 37? Like what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Yeah, so that's just a trend line. So that is just a horizontal trend line. Let me get rid of this. Bear with me 1 second here.
And how did you get that? How did you pull that up?
Yeah, so on TradingView, you can come over to this little tab here, second down from the top, and you just come over to the horizontal line, and you just kind of, what I'm looking to do is to measure as many points that kind of equally touch this time frame. So we can see a triple bottom actually off this time frame. And I'm not telling everybody to go out and buy an internet computer company, because this thing went from $3,100 down to $29. So I'm just using this as an example because just from the other night, we charted this up for somebody.
VGX just hit $3, by the way.
Congratulations.
We're pumping VGX, guys.
I like it. I like it.
Dang.
It's about time. It's about time. So yeah, that is a descending triangle.
Okay. Cypher Diaz. That's kind of confusing. I still don't understand. Can you explain it in a different way?
Is he referring to the descending triangle?
I think the ascending triangle is when he did that.
Yeah. So
made the comment.
Yeah. So the ascending triangle. Let's just go ahead here and basically let's pretend that this line is price action. What we will see is price action do one of these things. And if we can recognize this, what we can go ahead and do is draw up a horizontal line here and maybe even a trend line. And if this is price action here, we will know that there could possibly be some sort of volatile movement, meaning the price is going to react significantly as it squeezes into this point here. And when you talk about, price action squeezing, you hear about people saying, oh, the squeeze is on. That just means that the price is basically consolidating to a point where it's squeezing. We're seeing the highs get lower and the lows get higher. Sometimes we see the highs stay put and the lows get higher. And basically what happens is there is some sort of an inverse effect. It's the best way I like to explain this is these lows will eventually transition into highs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Cypher said he thinks he understands it now, so that's good. Crypto Daddy Pay, you got anything to add for ascending, descending triangles before we move on to the next?
No, I think those illustrations are perfect.
Cool. All right. Let's see. I got symmetrical triangles next. Got any examples?
Yeah, symmetrical triangles are nice. Definitely a good thing to study. And we'll just pull up Bitcoin here. Bear with me. Whoa. I'm having TradingView do some crazy things here. So when I'm looking for like symmetrical triangle squeezes, these can produce bullish and bearish results. Actually, you know what? We're going to pull up the Shiba chart because I was working Shiba a couple weeks ago and we were killing it. This is Shiba to Bitcoin. Bear with me 1 second, folks.
As much as you guys may hate the meme coin, based off some of the content that Six Figs put out, I've made quite a good amount.
Well, that's awesome.
And then I buy VGX or Stormmax.
That's right. That's right. Gotta stack that VGX with the profits that you make. So when I'm looking for a symmetrical triangle, usually this is a great indication of a so this is usually one of my most favorite continuation patterns that we see. And basically it's a great squeeze pattern. And what I mean by that is that we see these highs become lower and we see these lows become higher, and we're just squeezing the price to a point where it just reacts violently in a way. And so a symmetrical triangle is something that I'm always looking for. And usually it will indicate that a trend is likely to continue. So in this case, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see a continuation of an uptrend sooner. This really dragged out. But with that said, the price did eventually squeeze to the upside here. So I do like symmetrical triangles for the mere fact that they are great at, predicting future price movements. And so let's just look at this at a super high level, like a 5-minute chart. And bear with me 1 second here.
VGX is at 314. We are
Wow.
pumping right now, guys.
Nice.
Guess we're good luck.
Yep. And so you can kind of see that this symmetrical triangle is also kind of, when you see it off of these big sharp increases in price, this is what's called a bull flagpole. So we can see the bull flagpole, and almost if you hear of a bull pennant, this is what they're referring to. We've got a nice bull flagpole with a symmetrical triangle, kind of forms a pennant. This is a great bullish thing to see in the market. Of course, it's not bulletproof, but that is a symmetrical triangle, and it works in both ways. So here on this downtrend, we can see a little bit of a symmetrical triangle that formed here on this bear leg, and that led to the price dropping off. So this is a great example of a corrective wave and price continuing in the direction that it came from.
Gotcha.
Here's some more symmetrical triangles, on an uptrend. And obviously we have Elliott wave theory here to boot, which we'll talk about later.
Now, is a symmetrical triangle bearish and bullish, or what would you say the like percentage wise? If you're forming a symmetrical triangle towards the end of the squeeze of that triangle, is it more likely to break out or break to the downside?
So if I had to, when I'm playing symmetrical triangles, I'm looking at previous price trends. So if we're seeing a symmetrical triangle form off a really nasty bearish price action movement, I'm going to assume that the price is going to go down further. Vice versa. If we're seeing, this squeeze on an uptrend, I'm going to assume that it's going to go higher.
Gotcha. Crypto Daddy Pay, you got anything about symmetrical triangles? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you've got some chances of it going either way, and it's probably important that you use a couple of different indicators along with the pattern to try and make your best decision on where it's going to go next. But once again, 6 figs is making my job pretty easy here.
Professor 6 Fig in the house.
Oh, don't call me that. No, I'll tell you what.
Dombot, Professor 6 Fig teaching the class, he said.
I'm just trying to do my best, guys.
Cool. So let's jump into the next one I had for beginning level flagpoles, which I guess are bearish or bullish. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, so just kind of going back to we got bearish and bullish flagpoles. And again, this is a lot of times you'll see these ascending the symmetrical triangles kind of form off these flagpoles. Maybe this 5-minute chart isn't the best way to look at this, but if we go to like an hour chart, clear these drawings, you can kind of see the resemblance of a flagpole here. And this, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for these symmetrical triangles to kind of form this bull flagpole. And we're seeing a bull pennant here. And this is a kind of vice versa if we're looking for something bearish. I'm not really seeing anything on the sheep chart. It's too bearish, but you guys get the point. If we're seeing a nasty corrective wave happen and we're seeing a symmetrical triangle play out, maybe, for example, I got something here. If we look at this on a 5-minute chart, you can kind of see and this is going to be a bad example, but you can kind of see the flagpole here. You could make that argument. And then the symmetrical triangle that is forming here. I mean, like I said, this is a bad example because we're on the 5-minute chart, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So when we're looking for these flag pulls to form, if we can see an ascending triangle, symmetrical triangle form off them in a bullish scenario, that's good. Bearish scenario, if you're seeing a descending triangle, symmetrical triangle forming, chances are you'll see a continuation of the previous price action movement.
For sure. Crypto Daddy Pig, you got anything about flag polls? Are you familiar with it at all?
I mean, I know the pattern, but it's not something that I typically am looking for.
Gotcha.
So
cool. Let's jump into the next one. VGX is pulling back a little bit, guys, but it's all good. We're still above $3. Let's get into cup and handles. I know you've mentioned that every once in a while on your channel, but I personally need a refresher.
Yeah, so cup and handles are great. A great thing. Here's one on CKB, and I mean, you could also make the argument that like there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern here, but consequently, you could make the argument that there's a cup and handle here. And I mean, you could almost see the ascending triangle that formed off this handle to produce some nicer highs here. But yeah, basically a cup and handle is just that. It's a cup and handle. It looks like a cup and handle. Usually a good bullish reversal pattern when you see something like that, especially after some significant corrections like this.
And is that a bearish or bullish indicator?
It's bullish for sure.
Or pattern, I should say.
Yeah, definitely bullish. Definitely a bullish pattern to see. Like I said, especially after a nasty correction like this, and we can almost count out the, Elliott wave corrective, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5 here, or A, B, C, D, E pattern that formed. And then, I mean, you can kind of see that there is a cup and handle here. So it's a nice bullish reversal pattern. And if you see this pattern forming on, I mean, here's almost another example of it on an uptrend. We can see almost a little bit of a smaller scale cup and handle. It's definitely a good pattern to see on the charts. Not always 100% guaranteed that you're going to get some explosive price action, but
yeah,
definitely something good to see.
Daddy Pig, you got anything for that one?
I'm always looking out for them because they're usually an indicator that price is going to be dumping here pretty soon. Obviously you'd like to see it eventually bounce over that previous high, but it's obviously a good sign that price is correcting to the good.
Gotcha. All right, let's jump into pitchforks. Channel trading is what I had next.
Yeah, so there's two different types of pitchforks that I like to use, and just one is the regular straight up pitchfork and the shift pitchfork. There's a little bit of a difference between the pitchfork and the shift pitchfork. We can see that this is a pitchfork, and there are some other pitchforks. This might be considered like an Andrews pitchfork, but we can see that these pitchforks are used to project a possible channel that price action will travel in. And when we look at this pitchfork, we can see how price action within CKB has reacted very well to these channels of the pitchfork. For example, we can see how it struggled with this line here, or this channel here.
Hey, Fig.
Yep.
Not to cut you off real quick, but Ross made a good point. Can you take off the moving average lines to better show the patterns?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would help out. Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
Good call, Ross. Thanks for that.
Great recommendation. So this is definitely, I'm going to kind of backpedal here. So let me explain the pitchfork here. And this goes both ways for just a standard Andrews pitchfork and a shift pitchfork. This golden red kind of line that you're seeing down the middle represents a median line, which separates resistance and it separates support. So really anything below this reddish orange line is going to constitute as support, and it's going to really be a good place for some sort of bullish patterns to kind of formulate. Like, for example, here we can kind of see that there might have been some sort of triangular pattern formation or bull flag pattern that form. So this is great to see stuff like that. But once you get above this little median line here, you can see that price is really going to struggle to maintain some of these lines. And a lot of times what you will see is price action squeeze up against these channels like this. And this is a total example, but we might see price action kind of trade within these channels and form some sort of ascending triangle or something like that. And I like to kind of call these sort of patterns sliver by default. Basically, we will see price action squeeze against some of these lines or these channels here. This is a great example here. We had great support. Price action moved sideways, hit this channel line, and was basically squeezed upwards. And I don't know. So it's just a great tool to use to try and project future price action. And let's just go ahead and look at some things in hindsight.
How do you know where to place exactly?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that's a really good question. So what you're going to want to do with just a standard pitchfork is start with a swing high start with a swing low to a swing high to a swing low. And this is a great place to start. Obviously, we can see how price action left the channel here, but we can see that price action really obeyed some of these channel lines quite nicely and did move within this projection.
That's
and
crazy.
It still is to this day. And you can use this on a much smaller scale as well.
Yeah, like what time frame do you use? Like, does it just depend? Like, can you do this on a day trading time frame, or can
you do this on a whatever time frame you want? And you're going to see, obviously if you're working this on like a 5-minute chart, chances are you're looking for short-term gains, stuff like that. But if you're doing this on a larger time frame chart, I mean, you're going to get the bigger picture. So, for example, let's just see how well this pitchfork will predict this price action up in here by measuring off this swing low, this swing high to this swing low. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can kind of see that, we did leave this channel a little bit, but, generally speaking, the price did go in this direction. So it's just a cheesy tool. I mean, it's a valid tool, but, I do prefer like Fibonacci channels over something like this. But yeah, it's definitely a good tool to use, especially if you're trying to gauge where something might go.
Daddy Pig, you got any insight on the pitchfork? I think a lot of us may have been distracted at the time with the price action on VGX. So basically, you're just taking a low and then you're running to like a swing high and then the next low, and that's how you set up one of these channels?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways in terms of, different tools that you can use that'll kind of give you these levels. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting one. And I think a one that a lot of people don't know how to set up correctly, including myself, until, watching you do it. So I certainly think that's beneficial.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, this definitely works both ways too. So if you're looking to try to find out maybe some bearish patterns, you can just swing high to swing low to swing high. I mean, you can see one thing that I do like to use these for is when I see a price action break out of this channel, I'll kind of have an idea that, hey, the ecosystem might have changed. We might be seeing a reversal. So we can see something like this happen. Price action left the channel. Okay, this thing is reversing a little bit. it's easy to look at in hindsight, but
yeah. Cool. All right, let's jump into the next beginner level. Like I said, guys, take it all with a grain of salt because some of these beginner levels may be intermediate for some people. Like, it just all depends on the trader and whoever's doing the technical analysis. So this is just roughly like kind of what we put together before we did this. The next one we have is the rising and falling wedges, which I think you kind of touched on a little bit.
Yeah, let's look at Bitcoin, and we'll look at the April crash on that because we did see a significant rising wedge that did occur, and we did see price suffrage that happened. So Voyager token is another one that I've been kind of noticing a lot of falling wedges on, which are a nice bullish signal. But I can remember, and I can remember back in April, and I'm gonna call out BitBoy Crypto here because he had some analyst on his channel, and I had been tracking this falling or this rising wedge, and I'm like, gosh, this is looking really bad. And they were speculating that it wasn't going to be bad, things of that nature, and I'm going to leave that right there. But you can kind of see basically a rising wedge is where we see a bottleneck of price action to the upside. And we can see that this squeeze, this is basically an upward squeeze. And, a lot of times this will produce bearish results. Now, we did see some defiance of this recently. And I'd like to point out that, I was pretty... I was thinking that we were going to see some stuff really happen after this rising wedge. I mean, which it did. It did happen. We did see a nasty fallout from this, but I was kind of calling this rising wedge as it was happening on my channel back in September. We didn't. I thought that we would have seen this fall a lot harder than it did, but you can kind of see that. When we see, when we can draw up a rising wedge like this, we can expect that once we near this pinch point or the squeeze point, that at some point, the bottom will fall out. And now this does work both ways. So we can have a rising wedge and we can have a falling wedge.
Here's a quick question, not to interject, but this is what gets me thinking as you're talking about this. So what is the big difference between a rising wedge, a falling wedge, an ascending and a descending triangle? Because they kind of look similar to me. Like, what's it?
So basically, a rising wedge is going to look something like this. Ascending so a falling wedge is going to look something like this, and then an ascending triangle is going to look something like this, and a descending triangle is going to look something like this. So I mean, maybe on this we'd be looking at something more like that. But so those are kind of the differences.
So the ascending and descending triangles, basically the line is what, parallel is the word I'm thinking of. Whereas the wedge can be, it's like a little legit wedge. There's not like a certain line that's doing like a 90-degree angle thing parallel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so with an ascending triangle, we're looking at a fixated horizontal trend line, and then we are looking at a trend line on the bottom side that kind of is angling upwards, and vice versa with the descending triangle. And with these wedge patterns, we're just kind of looking for a wedge pattern in an upward or downward fashion. And so I'm trying to just kind of see if maybe, and I wish I had some more time to really do some market research and try to find some good examples of, some of these patterns that we're seeing. But here might be an example of a falling wedge. This is even really kind of sketchy.
Yeah, there's so many indicators. It's crazy, but I mean, you could literally spend an hour on each indicator or pattern in itself. So we're just trying to make it nice and quick for you guys. So
Yeah.
hopefully you're getting something out of this.
And here's one that, like I said, I was kind of calling this. This is an example of a falling wedge within Voyager. So bear with me 1 second here while I kind of get this stuff lined up. So on my channel, I was doing some, I've been doing some Voyager videos here and there. And, this would be a great example of a falling wedge where we just see price action come down, squeeze out of this channel, and start heading upwards. And these are some beautiful candles, by the way, on Voyager token right now. So this is a decent example. There was some other examples that I've pointed out in some previous videos on Voyager, but I think they were on the other chart.
Yeah. So with the recent spike up, kind of get a little off topic here for a second. What do you see with this big spike up to the retracement? Is there anything coming out of this? Was this predicted?
That's a good question. So, if you start talking like Fibonacci time sequence, this might have been predicted or predictable. But, I would say that there might have been a chance for some sort of ascending triangle that formed. We go ahead and just kind of throw a trend line up here. We can kind of see that the lows were kind of positioning themselves, moving higher. So you can see this low, and this low.
Ooh,
all
that's
moved
good.
higher. And so this, when you're looking at something like this, you could maybe argue that, okay, we had a falling wedge into an ascending triangle possibly form here. But people are selling this pump. And I don't know how accurate TradingView is for VGX, but we might have seen a $3.32 VGX.
Oh, yeah, it was happening during the live. It was insane. But that's usually how VGX runs. It's like it'll do a huge pump like this, and then it'll just downtrend to like 20, 30 cents type of thing. Like we're at 296 right now. It's crazy.
Sure.
But we're still up 8% on the hour, which is good. Let's jump into, I think the last thing for the beginning level indicators is trend lines, which you've kind of talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
What's a trend line?
Yeah, so trend line is just that. It's something that we're using to kind of identify these possible patterns in the market. And so here's one on the total crypto market cap right now. So here I am speculating that we might see some shit go down January 1st, just based off of what these trend lines are telling us. We can go ahead and draw some high points, some trend lines to the high points, expand them out a little bit, and really we could maybe see a rising wedge pattern forming here. I don't think that anybody would really argue against this fact right now that there could possibly be this pattern. I say possibly because we've seen Bitcoin mess with these patterns on a grand scale before. So I always like to just take things with a grain of salt. Bitcoin could go crazy and straighten this trend line out into a channel. We saw Bitcoin do that recently on like a 6-month long pattern that played out. I covered some of that on my channel as well. But really, when it comes to trend lines, even when we are trying to identify maybe an entry position or something like that, you could almost use some of these trend lines to maybe try to time your entry. You can say, okay, X asset has bounced off this trend line for a while and it bounces every time. And so you might be able to time an entry based on that, or something of that nature. I don't know if Crypto Daddy Pig has anything to add on that as well, because I know like Gon has a ton of different lines and stuff like that within the boxes.
You got anything, Daddy Pig?
They're set up in a way, and to be honest, so it's difficult even for me to kind of comprehend what he's got going on in terms of time frames. And there's different ways to set up the boxes where you can pull different time frames and different Fibonacci like scales of time as well. But I kind of use the same basic natural pattern that I've been using since the beginning. Sometimes I'll add more angles, which will allow to show a couple of extended time frames within a box. But I'm still learning on it as well. So
cool. Gotcha.
So yeah, if there's not any questions in the comments, let's jump into. I don't want to make this video too long. I was hoping for about an hour and 30 minutes. We might go a little bit over that, but we can jump into the intermediate level of technical analysis. So you could take this with a grain of salt. It all depends on, who the trader is and whatnot. But what we kind of think is an intermediate level of technical analysis is combining the basic patterns and indicators of the beginner level. So once you get that in, you can start adding different indicators such as the fib levels, Elliott wave theory, Wyckoff pattern, candlesticks. So I know this is Six Figs bread and butter. You like doing your Fibonacci levels, your Elliott wave theories. You want to touch on those two first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, if you're looking to get into the market, just a basic understanding of, what Fibonacci is will go a long way. It will really help you time entry and exit points, not necessarily down to a T, but you can get close. So, when we're talking Fibonacci, there's two different types. Actually, there's about 4 different types of Fibonacci that I use. We use the Fibonacci extensions, which basically is a measurement from a swing high to a swing low. And what I'm looking for here is, I'm looking for key important levels. So if we measure something like this, let's just say none of this exists here and we are right here. What I'm looking for is key levels like the 50% level, 61.8% level, the 786, which is a popular reversal level, the 127, which is another popular reversal level, and of course the golden ratio, 161.8. This is such a this number is so present in our everyday lives that you will never realize that how present it actually is. This golden ratio is found in everything from like snail shells to like the swirls and galaxies to, just research it. I can't explain it better than what you'll be able to Google it. So with that much said, these are kind of like the levels that I look for when I'm trading. Okay, are we getting up close to this 161.8 level, the 200% level? They're just kind of good. It's a good way to measure possible areas of pullbacks and, acceleration, things like that. So like I said, this works in many different ways. So we can use this. I'm just trying to see a little bit. Let's see here. Just trying to look into this a little bit here. So if we go and measure this like little swing low here to this swing high, we can see how price action came right down to around this 200%, this 227% level. If you guys remembered me talking about this 127% level being a popular reversal point in an extension, which means that we're thinking price is going upwards, you can kind of see that the 227% in this example really was the bottom. So it's kind of interesting to just study this on the charts. Other things I like to use are Fibonacci channels. And so Fibonacci channels are a great way to kind of gauge where your asset is. in the grand scheme of an uptrend or a downtrend. So we can go ahead and just measure this swing low to this swing low up to this swing high. And now if we zoom in, we can really see how these Fibonacci channels play in with price action. We touched this channel line here, pretty much obeyed this channel line here, same with right here. And we dipped a little bit below here. You can kind of see how price action really does play along these lines. And once you start, one thing that's interesting is that you will see a lot of this, a lot of fighting, in these channel lines here. And obviously this is the 61.8 line, this dark green. This is the 50% level here. This is the 386. 382, excuse me, and then we can see the 236 level here. So when you're looking at different Fibonacci levels, like, you need to understand what all these numbers mean, especially when it comes to trading. But it's just a very nice way to kind of see where we're at. So if we saw price action, way up here, we might know that, okay, maybe there might be some sort of retracement that is going to happen here, because we would be way too high up in the channel, and vice versa. If we see, price action kind of drift down towards this lower trend line, we might know that, hey, we might be seeing the bottom fall out, or we might be seeing a reversal happen. Another thing that I like to use is Fibonacci time sequence. And Fibonacci time sequence, folks, if you've never heard of it, study it up. Basically, what we're doing is measuring swing highs to swing lows. And this is basically going to help us with when the market is going to make moves. So what's interesting about this is when we go ahead and measure this swing high to this really erratic swing low, look at what this is telling us in hindsight. This is hindsight because, this happened in the past. We can see that this accurately predicted the exact reversal point here, somewhat right here. We can see that we had some sort of ascending triangle squeeze that just failed, and that this was really the point we saw price action downtrend here. And sometimes we see these little minute market pivot points, like, for example, right here, it predicted that there was going to be a little tiny reversal here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when we start using time sequence, we don't necessarily know the gravity of the move that's about to happen. And we might be able to predict it if we can draw out some sort of pattern. Like, let's just say a multi-month ascending triangle. We see the time sequence hit right in the sweet spot where price action is likely to take off. We can kind of gauge some of that, but you can kind of see how this works. It works very nicely. And I do think that, the farther out you get, the less accurate it is, because there are so many influences on the market that you really need to be careful with this. So if you're drawing up time sequence from this point to this point, 6, 7, 8 months ago, obviously there's a lot of tweets, there's a lot of market news that happens, and that could dramatically shape and influence future projections. So.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's another thing what I take into consideration when I'm investing as a fundamentalist and investor. When I look at TA, is that you'll do these, and I try to think fundamentally, like, what's going on during these certain time sequence time frames. Because I know last night we talked about November 17th. On a lot of these charts, there's going to be a significant move in the market potentially. So I asked the audience, I'm like, is there anything going around November 17th, plus or minus a couple of days, that we could see a huge upside to the market or a potential downside? So, and I don't know anyone else really talking about these time sequences in a lot of the TA videos that I watch. So I think this is a pretty good indicator, and it's another tool that you could use when charting that you could add to, make a prediction if you want to, get in or get out. of whatever you're investing in.
Yeah, definitely. And like, just measuring off this little swing high to swing low here, you can measure this from swing low to swing highs too. But it's just, I find this interesting that by measuring this, we see this bullish engulfing candle happen right on this date, right on this time frame after a little bit of a momentum shift. Same with right here. This is the power of Fibonacci time sequence, is that we see this spinning top happen. A lot of times when it comes down to candles and we start seeing a spinning top, this is a good indication that price is going to possibly reverse or something of that nature. And this is exactly what happened. It predicted a reversal point. Even though the reversal wasn't that significant, it still predicted the reversal of price movement. So
that would be my next quick question is, so using the time sequences, this is either going to be the upside or the downside. And then a follow-up question to that is, which I think is on that one link that I posted, what is the percentages of using a time sequence to the upside to the downside with like data? You know what I mean? Like how is it more likely when you do a time sequence to the upside 60%, or is it like 50-50? Like, is there data behind that? You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. And I couldn't give you an answer on the percentage wins and rates. I think a lot of it is just, like I said, the way time sequence works is you have a ground zero point, you have a swing low point, and the way it works is, let's just say we're on the daily chart, and so, or let's just say we're on the 6-hour chart here. Let's just say that we measure from this point to this point. Well, from point 1 to 2 is going to be the almost exact same point from 0 to 1, and then from point 3 is going to be kind of the average from point 1 to point 2. Basically, we're adding point 1 and point 2 to get point 3, adding point 2 and point 3 to get point 5. You can kind of see how this works. So this period here from point 1 to point 3 would be equal to point 3 to 5. But, when it comes down to accuracy, I have found this to be extremely reliable in predicting just when volatility is going to kick in. And I like to try to tell the people on my channel, it's fun to try to predict when things happen. Like, sometimes we can get it down to an hour, like a month out. It's crazy.
Wow. But yeah, that's why I was thinking as you were doing this, and I put the link in the comment section, thepatternSite.com, and I still haven't really messed around with the site. I know there is a section on there that all the indicators and patterns that we went over, it has a percentage of, head and shoulders pattern is more likely to go 60% to the downside or upside. There's like a percentage somewhere in there, but that made me think about that when you were talking.
Yeah, and I do apologize. I will be right back.
All good.
Bear with me 1 second.
Crypto Daddy Pig, you got anything with that?
No, I find it pretty fascinating in a sense that I've never dabbled with that version of a charting tool. I've seen Six Figs put that on a bunch of charts and really never understood how to set it up myself. So I mean, we're all learning together, and obviously there's different charting tools that are going to help everybody. So really kind of a cool concept. I think a lot of people take indication just price movement itself, but don't really take time into the equation. Pretty fascinating stuff. Happy to be a part of it today.
Yeah, for sure. Again, guys, definitely appreciate you guys all watching, all 36 of you guys. If you haven't already, smash that thumbs up. Helps with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow Crypto Daddy Pig, Six Fig Stock Trader. He's got an awesome technical analysis channel. We go live usually every Thursday, Friday night. So check us out there. One of the last things I do want to get into before we go to the advanced quote unquote level, and I want to see Crypto Daddy's GAM box charts, the lunar phases and all that. Let's go over the Elliott wave theory, because this seems to be like a pretty popular indicator that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people use that seems to be pretty accurate. If you want to just like, what exactly is the Elliott wave theory in a nutshell? Six Fig.
Yeah, so basically Elliott wave theory, and I'm just trying to look here to see if I can find anything that's really sticks out to me. And this is a good example of Elliott wave theory here. So basically, Elliott wave theory is the movement of price action, and a lot of times there are. So basically, to kind of dumb everything down, we have what's called impulsive waves. So this would be somewhat of an impulsive wave, something like this. And then we have what's called a corrective wave, something like this. And so when you hear of people buying the bounce, or a dead cat bounce, we might see price action come down. People will buy, this little section here, price will come up. And that's commonly known as the dead cat bounce, something like right in here, you buy the bounce. So basically, Elliott wave theory is comprised of corrective and impulsive waves, followed by a series of corrective, I guess what I want to say is corrective waves as well. So you have like the Elliott wave impulse followed by the corrective wave. So in trading view, we can find it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons down. You look for Elliott wave theory. And so basically what we're doing here is we're looking for the foundation of the price action when it starts to the upside. And we'll go over this, and you can see Elliott wave theory present in major corrections as well. This is how we draw up Elliott wave theory, something like this. And so one of the rules of thumb here is that 0.2 to 3 can never be the shortest wave. So when you're drawing up Elliott wave theory here, you have to make sure that, okay, is 2 to 3, and this might be more representative of what we're seeing, is 0.2 to 3 the shortest wave? If that is the answer, we no longer have valid Elliott wave theory. So here is a good example of Elliott wave theory to the upside on Bitcoin back from October 9th up to February 20th of 21. I should say October 9th of 2020 to February 21st of 2021. So what we're doing is we are looking for this price action to move in waves. And so one thing I love about Elliott wave theory is that when I notice some sort of ascending triangle or something like that forming, I will then turn to Elliott wave theory. And a lot of times what we will see is Elliott wave theory within Elliott wave theory. So we might see something like this inside of a larger movement to the upside. I'm not really going to go into that a whole lot on this Bitcoin chart because Bitcoin is so manipulated. It's crazy, but we can kind of see, what I'm talking about is there might be the argument that there could have been some sort of Elliott wave within Elliott wave here. We just have to look at smaller time frames, but this is a great pattern or a great indicator to use when you see some of these price action movements to the upside. Because, we can say that, that we've already gone from 0 to 1, 2 to 3 is longer than 0 to 1. So there might be a good chance that this little dip here will reverse and we will head to the upside. Now, 0.5 always needs to be higher than 0.3. So keep that in mind. And sometimes we'll see price action come just above 0.3. When it comes to this fifth point, other times we'll see it go way higher. It just, nobody really knows. And when you can start blending, Fibonacci with Elliott wave theory is when you will really have some successful trading. Again, when I said that there was some sort of corrective wave events that happen after this, usually you will see an ABC or an ABCDE pattern form after this. So let's just throw up this ABCDE pattern because it kind of looks like there might be one here. We can see that. Okay, so when we start charting out some of these ABCDE patterns, we can see that point E did lead us to a reset of price action. We can see that price did run up here, but you can kind of see this was kind of the end of consolidation in effect. I mean,
quick question before you keep going. You might have said it. I had to step away for a second, but how do you know initially where to start plotting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like what time frame, and like, is there a more accurate time frame, or does it depend if you're day trading or like long term hodling to use this?
You can see Elliott wave theory on a daily chart. You can see it on a 1 minute chart. If you're going into the market like for a very short period of time, you will see Elliott wave theory on a 1 minute chart, all day long. Sometimes, I should say sometimes. Here's another example, but a lot of times what I'm looking for is these ascending triangle type patterns or symmetrical triangle type patterns that form up. Here might be an example of an ascending triangle that could have possibly formed. Again, this is all, I wish I could find some better examples for everyone to really latch onto, but we can kind of see that this possible ascending triangle produced some Elliott wave theory. And so what I'm looking for when I'm measuring up some Elliott wave impulses is that usually towards the end of these bullish patterns or bearish patterns is where I would start something like this. And you can kind of see where Elliott wave theory in this case worked its magic. So it's really easy to do Elliott wave theory analysis and practice in hindsight, meaning we can look at previous price action and study it. Like with what we're doing with Bitcoin, when it comes to learning this stuff, this is some of the best best ways to learn how to draw up some of these more technical patterns or indicators. I don't know if Crypto Daddy Pig has anything to add to that as well.
You know what? I'm still quite a novice when it comes to this wave theory, and it's something that I've been looking into and trying to learn myself. So this is really good info, but it's not really in my wheelhouse.
Gotcha.
Yeah, guys, this is some great information. Really appreciate you guys coming on here and sharing and whatnot, and all 26 of you guys watching. Hopefully, you guys are getting some, good, valuable content out of all this. We're gonna try to wrap this up real soon. I want to end this with a couple different patterns. I know Crypto Daddy Pig, he's known for his laser light shows and all that type of stuff, the lunar indicators and whatnot, the Gambox, I think you call it. I really don't know too much about that. I know about the lunar a little bit, but I think the Gambox charts, if you want to maybe pull up your screen if you can and just kind of explain what that is and how you can apply that to either crypto or stock or anything in general, because I don't even think Six Figs. Have you ever heard of a Gambox?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's definitely, like Crypto Daddy said, this Gambox is out of my wheelhouse for sure. I've studied it, I've looked into it, but it is not something I'm confident with.
Gotcha.
All right, let me see if I can get this to work. This is my first time.
It's all good. I'll pull up some comments while you're figuring it out. Yeah, you just add it to it. You click on the, I don't know what it looks like on your end, but because we use Yardstream. Floki said, time to go full screen, everybody. Laser time.
Nice.
All right. Let me see.
Elizabeth Allen, what's up? Six Fig is just a brilliant tech analysis. Yeah.
Can you see?
Yep. Let me, let's see, add to stream and full screen it. I don't know how you full screen it from your end.
Let's go here.
It looks a little better.
It's not going to let me do that. Hold on. Sorry.
It's all good.
Learning
Anyway,
on the
guys,
fly.
what's that?
I said learning on the fly here. All right,
It's all good.
everybody, we good? You can see?
Yep.
All right, so what I'm going to do, obviously there's many different, you can apply this to any chart. What I'm looking for when I try and set these up is basically I'm looking, much like any chart, for a swing period. I don't like these weird wicks, and obviously we had some funny business when the chart first started and then whatever this wick was, but I'm not going to really focus on that for the sake of drawing this chart. So I'm going to start off just by playing and getting the top of this candle from when we opened and this new chart started, and then I'm going to go down, go down, go down. So you see we got a trend reversal here. Technically, this chart that went green went lower on the open than this on the close. So I'm going to draw my second line here. Okay, and then just for the sake of being able to draw the chart clearly, I'm just going to draw a vertical line on both of these spots. And then from there, this is something that, I was taught. I was taught to do it at a 33 degree angle. After fussing around with it forever, I decided that I really like to go from a 28 degree angle. So you can see right here, we're now at 22 degrees. So I'm going to adjust the size of the chart. So that's 27. We'll go a little bit further, and still 27, a little bit further. All right, we got a 28 degree angle. So from there, I'm going to select the GAN box. It's in this third tier down, and I'm going to basically draw it from the top of the opening of that candle and run it all the way down to the opening of that candle. So what you're going to see is basically price is going to follow. It's going to hit a line. It's going to come back up. It's going to hit a line. Basically, once it's here, it drops all the way down, finds support, comes up, gets stuffed, comes back down. So you're going to see that price tends to naturally fall in within these, geometrical angles that are set up. You notice that we had that wick up here, wick all the way down here. Yes, it's an anomaly, but if we were to go ahead and pull, and you can just hit the command key to be able to copy your same box, and you're going to see it went all the way down. And again, it's a weird wick, and there's no way to really predict this when you're drawing a box, especially when you have such limited data, but it did find support and then come all the way back up and then continued with the trend. So what we're going to do is you can just keep applying this same box, and what you're going to see is that price will tend to naturally come through, hit these lines, and follow a specific price. Now, what I like to do and what I like to look for is situations like this. You've got three different lines that are all coming together in one spot. That's an area for natural activity. I like to call them flux zones, where you're going to see some kind of interesting trend to price. And if you were to break down the box and get the time frames correct, you can see that some of these angles where these are hitting are natural time zones. And I think some of it does have to do this with the same sort of calculations as Fibonacci. So it's fairly easy to set up. A lot of the time, what you just need to do is be able to identify your high and low, and then make sure that you've got the box set up. You also don't want to mess around with adjusting the ratio of the bars. Once you set your first GAN box, you can go ahead and basically go into the settings on the scales. And, if you're worried you're not going to be careful, you can lock your price to bar ratio so that you're not messing around with the scaling of the chart. Once those are in place, you can actually go down to lower time frames, and you'll see just the same as those fib channels, that you're going to see price naturally run along these lines, bump up and through them, come up, hit, rejected, came all the way down, underneath, resistance, popped up, didn't make it, following this line all the way up. And now we hit that flux zone. And if you, we'll cut it down even closer to 15 minutes. You can see we tried to shoot up into this area, it failed, and we came back down to this natural line down here, and we'll see where we're going from there. Like I said, it does apply to pretty much any chart that you can come up with. It can work on lower time frames if you are trying to find positions to make a trade, and then it's not as difficult as the setup as people make it out to be. And again, for me, it's not 100%. There's areas where you can have these areas where you obviously see that price was in here and it failed somewhere in between. I'm trying to, because of time, just keep this as simple as possible. We do have again, a charting section of the Discord. If you guys want to come talk to me there, I'm happy to do it. You can also just DM me on Twitter, and I'm happy to do it there. Awesome. Real quick for these coordinates, I'm just going to leave this up for a couple seconds. You may want to screenshot this. If you have some of these boxes selected, which is the natural, their default version of the GAN box, you're going to get some extra weird lines that don't really apply. So this is the setup that I use to create my natural GAN box. This is the way that it was taught to me. And then I have a secondary version. I have a couple of different versions, but I have a secondary version that has more angles, and we'll apply that there. And then you can sort of really see how there's even more definitive lines just based off of just different time aspects that also can come into play. And you can see where this period of time where you weren't really sure what was going on because these, the 618.75 weren't in play, where these lines didn't really make sense, but you can add more lines in and basically kind of build a chart within a chart to find exact swings. And a lot of it, it's the same as your channels. It's just a different way to apply it, and it has its own kind of time sequence to it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So from a beginner standpoint, that probably went way over your head, especially me. I mean, I understood it and whatnot. I'll probably have to go back and watch it a couple times on replay. But I definitely think it's something I've never heard of. I don't think a lot of other people have heard of. And I think it's going to add a lot of valuable content to the video for people to come back and, listen to if they want to chart this on one of their favorite coins or tokens or whatnot. 6fig, what are your thoughts on that? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's a wonderful demonstration. I definitely appreciated the way you presented that. Like I said, I'm familiar with the GAN box, but I really am not comfortable using it, and the way you just kind of broke that down made a lot of sense. So I do think that's going to be huge for this video. And yeah, thank you for taking your time to explain that to us. That was wonderful.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, I've got somebody that basically taught me how to do it, who has their own YouTube channel. We don't talk as much as we used to, but if somebody wants a step-by-step demonstration on how to do it, I can certainly provide that link to somebody if they're interested. Just DM me or hit me up on the Discord, and I'll be happy to share it. You can do it over multiple. You can basically set a GAN box over top of another GAN box and basically do a low to a high, and then a high to a low, and then a third low to a high, and stack them all together. But at that point, it is a chaos laser light show where you really have to know what you're looking at in order to be able to understand and kind of figure out what basically, the price is going to do. And they recommend that you change the color for the different time sequences so you can kind of determine which GAN box at the time the price was following. But more than happy to do it on another stream if you guys are up for having me back. But I know we're way over time at this point, so I don't want to take up any more time. So
It's all good. It's all good, Daddy Pig. We're doing good.
I love you guys.
We always go at least 2 hours.
Yeah, we always say, we're gonna go 30 minutes. We go like an hour.
2 hours.
Go an hour. It's 2 hours. It's like a whole new thing or whatever. I'm talking to the mic, but I did want to briefly go over real quick. Let's set it at 2 hours. The lunar indicator, where you use like the moon, like when it's a full moon, it goes up or down type of thing.
Yeah. So
I can just explain that. That'll be the last one, and then we'll end it after that.
Let me do this one more time. And this is just a basic indicator that you can get on
Floki. Floki's in the comments. He's a big lunar dude, right?
Yeah. Floki's my astrology brother. And so basically the first time that I noticed that this comes into play, and I had noticed it way back when I was first charting ETH way back down at $160 something. Hold on, bear with me.
Nice.
So I found way back when that ETH really likes to follow the pattern of the moon. And this is something that's very simple. Right now, it doesn't appear to be that correlated, as things change and as we're getting to the, what I thought was going to be part of the peak of the bull run was towards this period from November to February. Obviously, if you listened to Steve earlier today, he thinks it's going longer, and that would be delightful. But here's just basically, this is called, what is it? Moon. It's moon phases, right? So you can just pop this on to TradingView, and what it's going to do is, I want to say the bottom ones are full moons, and I should have gotten into this more or written it down, but one of them's full moons and one of them's new moons. I want to say the bottom is full and the tops are new moons, but you can see they chart it out, and each section is the change in period of time. So you had periods basically starting here where these gold bars would be the full moons, and then once it hit the new moon, it would start to drop back down, and then it would go up once we got the moon down here, and then it would drop back down. And then obviously you can see this significant period from April, and then it crashed, and then stayed up, crashed, up, sideways, up, crashed, up. And now we're in this period where ETH doesn't care about the moon, and it's just rolling up the top. But
That's
very,
crazy.
very interesting periods of time where it was clear that the lunar cycles were affecting ETH, for natural or unnatural reasons. But really, really easy indicator. You don't have to do anything but pick it on the chart and put it on there, and it can show you, some price movements and pivot points that, don't take any time to learn. So.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things I've always thought was pretty interesting. And it goes back to like Six Fig talking about Fibonacci levels. And like, I feel like this whole world, I can get off in like conspiracy theories and tangents about like frequencies and like that's a whole nother conversation within what we're talking about right now. But I just think it's so crazy that like price action, goes up or down potentially off the moon phases is crazy. So I definitely wanted to throw that one in there. Just if you guys never heard about that, because it's another one of those things to put in your kit bag of all your other things that you guys have to do your own research, make a good financial decision before you pull the trigger on what you want to invest in. So hope you guys really enjoyed this tonight. Really thank Six Fig Stock Trader for coming on here. Crypto Daddy Pig, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It was great to meet you, Crypto Daddy Pig. I thought that was a very wonderful presentation you did on the GON boxes. Definitely learned some things there, so I appreciate that.
Of course.
Sure. And before we end it, giveaway. What you guys all been waiting for since Sunday. I'm going to do this live. Let me share my screen. So I got this YouTube comment picker for the video that I did on Sunday. Let me just, so YouTube route, there's options you can do because obviously people spam and whatnot and all that. But some people would comment multiple times thinking they get multiple entries. But this thing is pretty cool. Filters duplicate users, and you can then there's replies to comments. If you I actually went through it earlier. There were some spam people on there, whatever. I deleted it. But every comment's pretty much legit. I filtered duplicate users. You can.
This is rigged.
This is how you don't rig your giveaways, and I'm doing it live right now. So I got my YouTube video link there. Unless you don't believe me, but it is
comment picker that he built himself.
So 36 comments. Here we go. And then boom, start raffle and pick random winner. You guys ready? Drum roll, please.
Let's see what we got.
Strike
oh my God, you're sending this thing to Australia, baby.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And that's the thing. I was like, oh man, it goes internationally, whatever. Just a couple dollars. Just a bunch of dirty fiat. But congratulations to Strika. He's one of my moderators. Nice. Totally. You guys,
and what did I just say? This is rigged as hell.
There's no way. But yeah, he's been a longtime follower, so I'm going to be sending out my CKB Nervos Network hat to him in Australia. So yeah,
hopefully
we got
you can get a picture of him wearing it.
That would be pretty cool for sure. What else did I have?
Yeah, Michael and Floki corrected me. It's the other way around. So the moon cycles, just so you guys know.
Floki, shadows and dust. Wait. Oh.
And bottoms are new moons, tops are full moons.
Nice.
Gotcha. So just to clarify that for you guys. What other comments do you have here?
Just kind of touching on that too. I know this is kind of off subject, but it's just kind of crazy that we see the same, the same patterns and stuff showing up through Fibonacci and stuff here on Earth as we see, 500 million light years away in the spirals of the galaxies and stuff. And, you start mentioning these moon cycles and things. I can remember way back in the day, I was on the police force. I can remember one specific incident. We were at this apartment building and it was 100 degrees out. People got stabbed. We come running out the door and it was just a crazy night. And somebody goes, what is it, a full moon tonight? And we look up and it was a full moon. And it was just people were going nuts.
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy.
I definitely believe in this moon stuff because
hold that for another video.
Impact,
We can do the conspiracies and the philosophy of cryptocurrency trading and technical analysis.
I think we need to hold another video.
Dude, there's so much more we could talk. You could talk hours on this.
We need to have at least a 2-hour long video on how rigged this hat giveaway was.
I legit did it live. There's no that is pretty crazy though. Out of all 36 comments, one of my moderators gets it. I guess well deserved. So you will be getting right here. It's gonna come in this box
with rash cream.
This Nervos Network hat. There's only 3 in the entire world. The guy that makes all my hats, he's from Etsy. He's actually into crypto, into sports cars, and he's in I think Asheville, North Carolina. But he gets back from vacation on the 15th. If you guys want like a custom hat made, go to that video. I tagged his link, his LinkedIn, his Etsy in there. Just send him a message, and he'll probably make whatever custom hat. Richardson hat, they're real nice and whatnot. But just a quick plug.
Definitely one of the most comfortable hats I've worn. You had that thing sent out to me, and like it quickly became my favorite hat because it was so comfortable, and not for the fact that it says Nervos on it.
And it is. They make two sizes. This is for like large heads, he said, because the supply for the regular Richardson hats are like impossible to find. So this is like for larger heads. I mean, I have a small, medium, so I don't know what the heck kind of head shape. I have it like clicked on two.
Don't disclose too much personal information.
Yeah, I know.
Small heads and stuff.
Okay. I think it's time to end it here soon. But last plug before I go, DJ Crypto, he sent a tweet out earlier tonight. He's going to do kind of a meetup at the Dallas Mavericks game on December 3rd. Apparently, he's going to be printing or bringing 100 Voyager shirts, custom made, not the white ones. I don't know what he's doing with it. Goal there is to just get a bunch of people there, a bunch of Voyager heroes, Voyager fans, whoever. You're going to wear the shirts and just, promote the Voyager brand. And then afterwards, he wants to do just like a meetup if you guys are interested into that. Go out drinking, go restaurant hopping, whatever you guys want to do. But that is what he has coming up. I think it's kind of cool thing just to support, the new Mavericks partnership and whatnot. What do you guys think?
Very cool.
That's pretty sweet.
I know Floki on his own right is over on the West Coast in California, and he just tweeted out tonight about, a VGX Heroes, but, certainly anybody's down with Voyager who wants to get out that way in December. I think he said the 18th was the day he was planning for it, so just take a look at his tweet, and if you want to get involved with that, hit him up as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's another thing that I like about this VGX hero community and whatnot. So like I'm invested into probably heavily about 4 or 5 different coins, and it's all on the Voyager platform. VGX Heroes is just, a group of like-minded people. Obviously, we're all invested in the VGX token. We want to see it do well and whatnot. But if you guys aren't a VGX hero or you're new to this, definitely check out the Discord. You can come in. You don't have to be minted as a VGX hero and whatnot. You can check it out as a sidekick. And if you like it, come hang out with us, man. Before VGX Heroes, I didn't really have anything. It was all do my own research. I really wasn't a part of any groups and whatnot. But check it out, man. It's pretty much like any coin or token that's on the platform. We want to succeed. I mean, granted, yeah, you got people that like other platforms and whatnot, but I've been in the crypto space for 4 to 5 years, and this is probably my favorite community. I like CKB's community a lot, but there's just something different about the VGX Heroes community that I like, and the closeness and whatnot. But with that being said, as we grow, you're gonna get lots of trolls and whatnot. You just ignore the FUD, ignore everything. You guys all know the fundamentals of Voyager and whatnot. We all know it's gonna go up and go to the moon. At least I think it is. You guys can think otherwise. But yeah. Any other last thoughts, guys, before we end it? That's pretty much all I had.
Oh, it was nice meeting you, Crypto Daddy Pig. Really enjoyed tonight.
I did as well. Hopefully we can hop on and do it again. I love learning from you. I mean, I've only been doing this for 2 years, and I was sitting there jotting notes while you were going over things, and I love watching your TA on the stream. So I'm happy to be a part of it and happy to, be invited today. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
But before we end it, make sure you guys go follow Six Fig Stock Trader on Twitter and YouTube, and also Crypto Daddy Pig on Twitter. Is that where you want everyone to follow you at? You got anywhere else?
You can find most heroes have a link to the Discord in their profile. So if you want to come check out the Discord, there's channels for regular stock trading, sports. We have a really fun music channel where you can play pretty much any song that you want, and a group of people will hop in and do, happy hour and shoot off gifts while we take turns playing songs, and it's a good time. We also have a movie night bi-weekly where a couple of us will get together and just chat while we watch a movie together. We were really just about expanding the community and being welcoming to everyone, regardless of your history of, investments. And we're just, we like to call it being friends and just fronting and just being a community and supporting each other. So
awesome. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. If you guys don't already, follow me on Twitter, crypto_airborne, and also YouTube. I'm at 789 subscribers, guys. I'm 799. Nice. So shoot for that 1,000 mark. I just hit 4,000 hours of watch time today. Really appreciate the support. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great Friday night. Gonna try and take some time off this weekend and hang out, with the family. Hopefully you guys do too. Set your phones down. It's always good to reset and relax and just hang out and have a good time on the weekend. So have a great night, guys. Thank you guys for all coming on. Have a great night. So Airborne out.